JJ, you knew it was going to be difficult to generate as many good shots with so many guys out. Where did you think was that ultimately, I guess, expected, or what were you trying to get to that was just difficult with the personnel that was out there?
It's hard to run offense without ball handlers.
With that said, is it tough to then take too much away from the game, or are there certain things?
No, I took a lot away.
Okay.
Again, our half-court defense was excellent. First shot defense was excellent, and saw, for the most part, outside of a couple guys, like just a highly competitive spirit, connected group. You could build on that.
Do you have any indication about who you might be able to get back ahead of the next game at this point?
Hopeful on Jackson. Hopeful on Marcus. Yeah, hopeful, but we'll see.
Austin, you said, hey, we're not going to rely on him to get 50 tonight. He did get 40 plus. What did you see that was working for him? And obviously, you mentioned the ball handling part going into tonight. You said, hey, all the pressure to be on him. It's going to be hard to generate and take care of it. He had 8 turnovers. But what did you see what was working for him tonight?
Well, first half, they played the 5 on our 5. We, to start that third quarter, we had said whoever the 5 is guarding, be a pressure release, and just didn't do a good job of that during the first quarter. They basically were cross-matching. Drew did a good job, a la Draymond Green, at just screwing the game up. And there wasn't another guy to bring the ball up, so it's just circumstantial.
JJ, you just mentioned Drew, someone you played with. What level of appreciation do you have for how he's able to adapt to the teams that he's on and the players that he's playing with, throughout his career?
Yeah, just a great appreciation for him as a person, player, competitor. Felt like a throwback game for him. Second night of a back-to-back, and kind of did everything he wanted to do offensively and got wherever he wanted, and then defensively, again, just mucking the game up. It was a great performance from him.
When you've talked about Austin's kind of maturation as a player, I think one of the things you alluded to is that you can't coach him on the bag and stuff like that, but there's leadership stuff and different. Mm-hmm. Have you seen particularly in these games without Luka and LeBron? Have you seen or heard, I guess, maybe more of his voice?
Yep. Yeah, I have. Just great example of it. It challenged that call in the fourth on the block. I think it was Grant that blocked it on DK. We just had set up a pretty simple baseline of out of bounds play if that call had gotten overturned. 1.3 on the clock, and he's coming out of the timeout. DK, work your way head under. I'll throw the lob over the top. Just it's simple stuff like that, but I'm seeing it again and again, whether that's on defense, offense. He's been great in huddles. Yesterday, just as connected as our huddles have been, player to player during timeouts. So I see it, constantly.
JJ, you mentioned Dalton. He had that sequence, I think, in the third, coast to coast for the dunk, and then had the steal, drew the shooting foul. Just what is there a hope that he can build off of this performance, getting this many minutes, and having that move forward, especially as you guys sort through the injuries and sort through the roster?
Yeah, I think he can build off this. It wasn't a perfect game, but had a really good stretch there, and it wasn't just making shots. It was playing with some tenacity, getting out in transition, and just continue to believe in him as a player, and understand that it's going to be a process with him, and he understands that. Him and I talk about that all the time, but have very high belief in him.
JJ, you always talk about playing hard. Was tonight a case of you guys playing hard, and that's something that you guys can rely on all the time?
Yeah, I thought for the most part, again, there was a group of guys that played hard, and there was a couple guys that, again, it's you put them in tough spots, I think, sometimes. But those guys are young guys, and they'll get better.
Hey, JJ, Ayton hit a bunch of mid-range jump shots again tonight. How much does that just help the spacing for the team and just keep the team organized, having a threat from mid-range at the 5?
Yeah, it's very valuable against teams that play in a deep drop like Portland. It's a pressure release. It's an outlet. You can kind of get that when you want it, and he can always get to the second side. I think overall, just his throughout all 4 games in the preseason, his just patience offensively, I think, has been really good. His decision making, for the most part, has been really good. So really, really pleased with how he's playing right now. Thank you.
Wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up all brains. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA on the ESPN.